Voting in the Law Society of Kenya elections will stop in less than 1 hour, paving way for commencement of tallying. Well, today's polls have so far witnessed a huge turnout across all 39 polling stations countrywide. Earlier today, all the 5 presidential candidates voted at the Milimani Law Courts, with Bernard Chepngetich casting his vote at the Nakuru Law Courts. The exercise, which kicked off at 8 a.m., is being conducted by IEBC, which will officially announce the poll outcome as it issues certificates to the winners. Seth Olale is standing by with the very latest. Seth, good to see you. What can you tell us?
Well, just like you put it, Victoria Rubadiri, rather, that we are just now minutes away from the tallying, the official tallying of what has been quite a very intense campaign season for this year's LSK election, now culminating in the voting that started at 8 a.m. and is now going to wind up at about 5 p.m. Thereafter, we will know what IEBC is going to do. But I just want to call upon the Vice President of the LSK, that is Faith Odhiambo. Remember also, she is a presidential candidate. She voted earlier today. But Faith, in terms of how the process has been so far, tell us, even I've just stepped closer a bit, just tell us about what to expect immediately after the polls close at 5 p.m. What happens next?
So once the polls close, we expect that once we ensure that every single person have voted that are within the polling station, that we will now proceed to the next session, which will be voter counting, that all agents are present. We confirm the seals before we open and start the counting process to know what are the valid votes, what are the rejected votes. And every candidate should be given an opportunity to have their agents present to verify the entire process. And I hope that that counting process will be free and fair, away from any interference. We note that though it's the hall that was chosen to carry out is a bit crowded, we hope that there'll be some level of security will be adequate to ensure that no incidences arise during that process.
And of course, you had a lot of meetings with IEBC in regards to today's election. What time do we expect the first results to start coming out, and especially those for the presidential and JSC representatives?
So probably, depending on the voter turnout, we'll be able to see the same maybe around 10 p.m. or thereabouts. Taking note that there's no electronic transmission. Most of these agents will have to physically bring back any of the tallying sheets or the various polling stations. And so we will have the final tallying center. It's going to be at Gitanga Road. But even as we close the polls and we continue with the counting, I think we'll be able to see final transmission once at Gitanga Road, and each of the polling agents have come back with their signed forms, with those from IEBC as well, so that the returning officer can finally tally the results.
Will this be electronically transmitted?
Well, unless it's the scanned copies that will be sent, we know that the returning officer will be expecting to get all the physical tallies before they can make the final announcement.
Thank you so much, Faith, to them, and all the best. You know, you are a presidential candidate as well. But also we want to talk to another presidential candidate. This is Peter Wanyama. Peter, we saw you vote earlier all in the morning, but what are your agents telling you in terms of the procedure of today's particular event, the polls today? Are there any anomalies?
There were very minor anomalies, but the anomalies were sorted out. But from what we have witnessed, this election is truly transcendental. So many advocates have turned out. We can say the turnout in terms of percentage is huge. So we are waiting to see the statistics, but we estimate that more than 10,000 advocates have turned out to vote, because
that represents 80%.
Yes, more than 80% of the election, and we believe that sends a message on the importance of this election. So the process itself has been smooth. IEBC has conducted a free and fair election so far. There are no teething problems. Advocates are being identified, and then they are given the ballots and they cast their vote seamlessly. So we hope by 5:20, when the ballots, when the voting ends, we will then start the counting process and definitely know the winner of the various seats, including the one for president.
Okay, and of course, Wanyama, Citizen TV will be transmitting live and bringing you live those particular results. So talking about various positions, actually 8 different positions. We have the presidency. We also have the most crucial, the JSC representation, and which is being, heavily or closely contested, Victoria Rubadiri. But we are camping here at the Milimani Law Court. But as you heard from the LSK Vice President, that is Faith Odhiambo, this is where the voting is ongoing. But at 5 p.m., this particular premise will now be shut, and everything, all the ballot material will be transferred to the LSK headquarters along Gatanga Road, and that is where the tallying and the counting is going to go. We expect the very initial preliminary results to start trickling in as from 9 p.m. East African time, and of course definitely by midnight we should know who is succeeding Eric Theuri as the president of the Law Society of Kenya, plus various other positions which fell vacant even before this particular exercise was formally announced by the IEBC. Vicky.
All right, Seth, thanks for that. It's been a closely followed race, and we'll be patiently waiting for those results once they start streaming in.